Welcome back, everyone, to RaZeR's Edge. Today we have a war story. We have a chronicle of mistreatment and humiliation. AT&T is probably the worst company that I've ever had to deal with. I've never come out of an AT&T store feeling happy with the decision that I've made. I got my first phone back in, I think, 2017. I was a freshman in high school. I had an iPod Touch up until that point. Seeing kids that are like 5 with iPhone 12s now is a little weird to me, but that's not the point. Like I use my 3DS to watch YouTube. So I got my first phone. I got it through AT&T, and there was a deal on the iPhone SE, which is the worst phone that AT&T has. Apple never advertises for it. It's like the bottom of the barrel phone. At the time, it was like basically the iPhone 6, but in the iPhone 5's body. It's not a great phone, but it did the job. But after receiving my new phone, my family discovered that the deal that we had gotten for our phones wasn't actually as good as AT&T claimed. We were paying an extra $100 a month on top of what they told us that we would be paying, which is the opposite of cash money. Eventually, we were able to negotiate the price down to what we actually agreed upon in the store, but it was just a hassle to do that. So fast forwarded 2 years ago, my iPhone SE was basically charger bound. I needed a new phone. At the time, one of the best phones you could get was the Samsung S10, and I wanted a Samsung instead of an Apple because Apple is a bit of a stinky company when it comes to letting the user do stuff with their products, and me having a Windows computer made more sense to go with Samsung because it works better and whatever. So I went the Samsung route. So I'd researched the perfect phone for weeks and decided on the Galaxy S10e, and I paid for it with my own money. I didn't get my parents to pay for it for me because they really couldn't. I had saved up some money from working part-time at a grocery store, but I was ready for a new phone, and that phone was going to be the S10e. It was a little bit smaller than the regular S10, but it was a lot cheaper, so that's the one I went for. But the one that AT&T had was only a 64 gig one that cost like $700, so I was like, no shot, and I bought mine on Amazon instead because I found one with double the storage for $500. And I went to AT&T and I was like, hey, will this phone work with you? Like, it's unlocked. It's the international version of the phone, and they said it would be fine. This was before 5G was a thing, so I didn't really have to worry about that. So I got my phone and I took it to the AT&T store, and it turned out that it only kinda worked on their network. You see, what they didn't tell me when I asked in the store if it would work was that it would be a different connection than 4G. Instead of getting an LTE symbol on my phone, I got this H+, which stands for HSPA, which basically is 3.8G. It might as well be 4G speed-wise, but it's still a 3G connection. This will be important later. So I was a little bummed out about that when I first got my phone, but over the past 2 years, I really didn't have any problems with it. I didn't have any special connection issues that the people around me weren't also having. I was chilling until yesterday. Let me paint the picture for you. I'm chilling in my room playing some Stardew Valley. Look at this farm, beautiful. Playing Stardew Valley, and I receive a letter at the door. The letter says, "Important notice, AT&T customer." I'm like, okay, this is important. So I read it. AT&T is shutting down its 3G towers. Interesting. My phone just so happens to run exclusively on a variation of 3G, but do not fret, O loyal customer, the letter says. We are so graciously, so humbly gifting you a brand new cellular phone, free of charge. So I'm like, ayo, Poggy's new phone. I didn't actually say that. That would have been cringe. In fact, I didn't even care that I was getting a free phone because I already liked the one that I have. It has the 3.5 millimeter aux port, still has the headphone jack. It had plenty of storage. The battery was a little iffy, but nothing major. I didn't want to replace it for another few years, but whatever. Free phone's a free phone. Can't complain. So I went into the AT&T store to ask what phone I'm getting, because in the letter it said, we'll send you a phone similar to what you have. And I'm thinking, I'll get another S10e or a normal S10. Every phone variant has a different model made specifically for each provider, so I figured they'd just send me the S10 made for AT&T. But just to make sure, I went to the store to ask them. And the guy in the store said, yeah, I got no clue. We just found out about this the same time as you, so great job informing your employees, AT&T. Freaking what? Side note, I hate when companies just neglect to tell their employees when something important happens. I've had to deal with some crap jobs I've worked at because the store was unprepared for something corporate randomly announced and didn't tell us about until they told the public. So I tell the guy thanks, whatever, and I call the number that they had on the letter. I got put on hold for a while only to be greeted with static. Very cool. I hang up and try again. This time I get an actual rep on the line. They tell me that AT&T is either sending out the current version of the iPhone SE or the Samsung Radiant. These are the two worst phones that AT&T has. My phone is worth $700 new. The Radiant is worth $50. And I'm like, the letter said it would be similar or equivalent. But what was really happening was them saying, here's our worst phone, have fun. And I'm like, I'm not taking this. I'm not downgrading my phone. Why would I do that? I paid good money for this phone. And had they not messed with the towers, it would have lasted me a few more years. But no, AT&T decided that wasn't gonna work anymore. So at this point, I'm pretty pissed. I had to get a new phone, and their courtesy move was them dropping a fat dump on my face. So I went back to the AT&T store today to get a new phone, and I ended up getting the Galaxy S21 Ultra. It sounds like a video game remake, and I made sure I was getting like the best phone that they had because I didn't want to have to deal with them for another like 5 years at the minimum. Like, I don't want to see the inside of another AT&T store until my phone no longer turns on. Even then, I'll probably go to Samsung first. But I was able to reluctantly trade in my S10e for the new one, and trading in my phone brought down the price like $400, I think, for the phone. Like, they bill you for it monthly, so I don't even know how much it really costs. Preferably, I would have liked to keep my old phone because regardless of if it works from cell towers, I can still use it as like a camera and whatnot. There's a 1080p camera on that boy, but I had to trade it in. Otherwise, I was paying like $1,200 for a phone that I didn't even want. But yeah. AT&T is a pretty scummy company. They'll literally change the rules on you constantly, make you buy stuff you really don't want. Like, the phone I have now no longer has a headphone jack, so I needed to buy an adapter just to use the aux cord in my car. It's just really wacky and really dumb. But yeah, that's my rant about AT&T. They're just the worst company. They will find the smallest thing and make you pay for it. Like, I have unlimited data, but with an asterisk. It's unlimited, but if you reach a certain limit, your speeds are drastically slowed for the rest of the month. You also aren't able to use a hotspot at all. Like, it's just dumb stuff that they either don't tell you or straight up lie to you about. And they really didn't need to shut down the 3G towers. Like, I doubt there's much maintenance required on them. And I don't know if they need to, like, replace them with the 5G ones or whatnot. But the whole thing is just super dumb. Like, I shouldn't have to worry about stuff like that. And AT&T just makes you. It's just dumb. And they also own Warner Brothers, which is responsible for the atrocity that is the new Space Jam. So honestly, just doing a disservice to the people out there. But with that being said, I hope to see you in the next one.